Hello everyone, and welcome to this Reallusion webinar for CrazyTalk 7. I am your host Enoc, and today we're going to go over how to create facial animation with CrazyTalk 7. Before we start the webinar, however, we have some important steps that we need you to follow. These have been on the screen for the past 5 minutes. So you can just follow that, adjust your audio settings just to make sure you can hear me properly. Later on at the end of the webinar, which will last for 1 hour, please remember to expand the questions and chat section. That way you can type in your answer. Again, save your questions until the very end. And third one, obviously, in order to have a better viewing experience, please try to optimize your internet bandwidth by canceling or disabling any program that might be downloading or streaming from the internet right now. That way you dedicate your entire bandwidth to the webinar. If you experience any type of lag during the webinar, don't worry, as we are live recording this on our end, and at the end of the webinar, maybe in around 1 or 2 hours after, we will be uploading this for your viewing, okay? So let's start. This webinar is going to be about CrazyTalk 7. I'm just briefly going to explain to you what CrazyTalk 7 is. Then we'll go through the live demo. I'll show you the software and how easy it is to operate, followed by some showcases. And at the end, we're going to have about 10 or 15 minutes to try to answer the questions that you might have. Okay, great. So let's start. First of all, what is CrazyTalk 7? Most of you already know what the software is, but I'll just make sure. CrazyTalk is one of the world's most popular facial animation tools that uses voice and text to automatically animate for you. So what makes CrazyTalk so special compared to other applications out there? The main thing is that CrazyTalk is extremely easy to use. Anybody can use it. And number two, obviously, the speed of production that you have with CrazyTalk. Okay, so great. That is CrazyTalk, and let me just put my words into action. Let me go into the live demo, and I'll show you how to operate the software. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to create a custom actor from an image. You can do this from an image, or you can do this from a photograph. So I'm going to import this image, and later on I'm going to start preparing the image. I'm going to go through the face fitting, 3D profiling, and lastly, I'm going to add virtual eyes and teeth to my character. So let's open CrazyTalk 7, and this is the software. So let me explain a bit what we have here. The first thing you might notice is on the right side, we have the Content Manager. Now the Content Manager is basically just a fancy word for a virtual library. Here's where you're going to find all your projects and all your actors, all your voice scripts, then all your automotions, which are basically predetermined animation profiles that will use your voice to animate a character. Then we have motion clips, which are pre-created, pre-made animations. These are independent of sound. And lastly, we have the background tab. So just like we have all these tabs for templates, okay, these are all the files that come with the software. We also have the custom tab. We have custom tab for everything from projects to actors, and also to my voice scripts and automotions. So every time you create something, you can always save that project or character into your content manager. So just to give you an idea what CrazyTalk can do, this is the project that we have, the Saul Goodman final. Okay, if you recognize this character, this is from the show Better Call Saul, which is a spin-off from the Breaking Bad show. So this is the lawyer, Saul Goodman, and I used his image here for as an example. So I'm going to play this back, and I'm going to show you the type of project that we can create in under 20 minutes. Let me play this back so you can hear it. Oh, sorry, that's the actor. You see that we're in the actor tab? So what we want to do is go to project. So go to project and then open that project that you have and play back. Hi, I'm Saul Goodman, and in times of need, You need a lawyer you can trust. Okay, not bad. It looks pretty good. Let's see that again. Hi, I'm Saul Goodman, and in times of need, you need a lawyer you can trust. Great. So let's start from scratch. I'm going to Command N or Control N, depends if you're on a Mac or PC, and let's start. So I mentioned on the right side we have the Content Manager. Then on the top side here, we have what we call the top toolbar, and you can undock this if you'd like. You can move this around and rearrange it and just place it any place you'd like. If you have dual monitors, that's great because you can put all your tools like the Content Manager and the upper toolbar on the left side, and then you can have the main window, the stage window here on your right side monitor. So it makes things a bit easy. Great. So how do we start? Well, the first thing is we need an actor. So we can either use one of the predetermined pre-made characters that come with the software, or I can import my own. So to import my own, there's two ways I can do this. I can go up to the top toolbar here and click on Create New Actor. And this will ask me if I wish to import an image, use my onboard computer camera, or import a previously made model. Now you can do that, or I can simply drag and drop an image from my external folder. Now this is one of the cool things about CrazyTalk and all the Reallusion software. It allows you to simply drag and drop assets directly into your window without having to go through complicated import procedures. So this is a JPEG here, this Saul Goodman, and I will simply drag and drop that inside. And as soon as I let go, CrazyTalk recognizes that it's an image, and it brings me into the image processing panel. Here I have the option of rotating the image or adjusting the color balance or cropping the image if I need to. But I actually like the way the image is. I don't need to do any corrections. So I'm simply going to click on Next. Now here is a very important part. We're going to start working with the auto-fitting anchor points. So I'm going to zoom in. I can do this by obviously clicking on the zoom in button here, or with my mouse wheel, I can scroll up, and this will allow me to zoom in. So what we need to do is just follow the illustrated instructions on the right side, upper right side, which says that we need to drop in these anchor points in the corners of the mouth and the eyes. Okay, so we're done, and just go to next. It's that simple. Here, we need to do the face. We're going to need to use the face fitting editor. Now, the idea here is the same as before. Try to follow the illustrated steps that you have on the upper right side here. So what I like to do is that I like to first start with the eyes. Let me go up. Let me center this eye here. So I'm going to start dragging these anchor points to place them just around the boundaries of the eyes, just like that. Okay, you don't have to do a perfectly good job right now because these are just the basic anchor points. And before I continue, I'd like to mention something very important. You notice that we have our blue wireframe here. If I hover over it, it turns green, right? Okay. If I click on it, it turns red. This means that I can now drag the entire wireframe, not just one anchor point. Okay. And if I wish to place it back here, I just click outside, and it'll return to blue. Now the important thing is this. You notice that this wireframe has a yellow dot, a yellow anchor point right in the center. This is a guide that tells you that you need to make sure that you properly center this particular anchor point. So what you have to do is this. The eye, imagine that there's an invisible vertical line cutting right through the eye. Okay, so you need to make sure that this yellow anchor point is right in the upper middle part of the eye. And you need to do the same for the bottom one. So imagine that there's an invisible line cutting right through both of them, and they have to be centered. The same thing needs to be done with the eyebrow here, but I don't have all those anchor points. So I'm gonna finish what we have right now. I'm gonna fit the other ones, and then I'm gonna add additional anchor points so that I can center things better. Okay, so the eye again here, center that, drag this in. You might want to place that wireframe just around that black boundary of the eye. And let's do the same for the eyebrow, right about there. Okay, let's go down to the nose, corners of the nose, and also for the mouth. So again, don't worry if you're not doing a perfectly good job right now because we're lacking anchor points. We're going to drop in a few more in a second. Just want to make sure that these boundaries here are set. Okay. So now we want to encompass the face. Remember, for the face wireframe, you need to encompass the face, not the hair and not the ears. Just the face, the forehead, and the jawline. Later on, we're going to drop in more points. Okay, so that looks about right. So I need to add in more points because I want this to be very detailed. So what I'm going to do here is up here in the face fitting editor, we have a basic mode, which is the one we're operating right now. And then right at the right side, we have another one called detail. So if I click on that, you're going to see that more anchor points were added. See the difference? So these anchor points are very important. Obviously, they allow me to place these boundaries better. So this yellow one up here, that one, drag it down, make sure you're right over that line. So you want to make sure these wireframes are over that black outline for the eyes. Just like that. Okay, not bad. Let me bring this up just a tad. Now let's go to the other eye. So this one is centered, bring it down a bit, bring this line down, make sure you're on the outline. Bring this down a bit. Do the same for this eye. Center this point. And I think we're looking pretty good. Bring this down. Okay, I'm going to zoom out a bit. And I was talking about the center point for the eyebrows. So try to do the same thing, an imaginary line cutting right through the eyebrow and the eye. Just like that. Actually, let me bend this forward. Bend this back. So I mentioned that you want to have this upper eyebrow centered, right? Well, you can have it centered, but actually I want this to conform to that angle, to that perspective of that eyebrow line. So I'm just going to move it a bit back. And let me see the other one. That looks about right. Something like that, okay? Let me go down to the nose now. So depending on how detailed you want this to be, this will take about 10 or 15 minutes. Actually a bit less. I like to take my time because there's nothing better than to see a character that is properly fitted. And I'm going to show you why. Let me just finish this up. I'm trying to do this as detailed as possible just to give you confidence in how to do this when you start animating, when you start fitting your character. So again, the wireframe right over that black outline. Okay, let's make sure the face is properly outlined. That's correct, yes. The other side of the face, we're good. And let's go up. Great. Now we notice that we also have this we have the internal wireframe for the face, but then we have another wireframe that's outside. Now this is what we call the crown area, and this will allow you to encompass any hair segment, the ears of your character, accessories such as hats or anything that they might have on their head. So you want to use this wireframe, and you want this to be outside to encompass the hair and the ears of your character. Just like that. I can bring this in a bit. Okay, that earpiece and the hair. Great. So let me zoom out. And now the beauty of CrazyTalk is that I can actually test this. So you notice at the bottom right side here, we have a little area which we call the calibration panel. So here you can test all your facial parts, or you can test the head rotation, or the mouth, or the eye blink. So let me click on head rotation and see what happens.
Up, down, left, right.
Let me zoom in a bit so we can appreciate this better.
Up, down, left, right.
Not bad. Let's try the mouth now.
A, E, I.
Okay, great. And the eyes? Let's zoom in and see the eyes.
Eyes closing and blinking.
Actually, that's not bad. Now, if the eyes looked a bit weird, you can always stop the calibration and you can go in and you can further adjust those outlines, those anchor points that are outlining your eye, and that'll ensure that you have a better fit. Okay, just like that. But I think we've done a good enough job. So let's just go out. We're going to do this by clicking on Next. Now here is where we have the face orientation area. So what we have to do is that depending on the character that we're using, we need to choose the appropriate face style. Now because this character is a human character, then the best one would be obviously a human face profile. If you were using a dog's image or a lion's image, obviously that character has a long snout, then you might want to check a different profile, and I'll show you why. If I click on snout right now, let me increase the strength. Okay, so I gave him a 3D perspective of a character that has a long nose. So let me click on preview, and I'm going to move my mouse around, and you're going to see that character come to life. You see that it kind of looks like a monkey. See that long snout there? So that is not the face style you need. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. So let me click on stop here, and I'm going to go back to face human style, lower the strength, and I'm going to preview. And now you're going to see as I move my mouse around that 3D perspective looks a lot better now. Okay, so I think we can use that. So let me click on OK. And now what we have to do is we're going to add virtual eyes and virtual teeth to our character. Now this is one of the really cool parts about CrazyTalk. I could use the eyes that we have right now, and I could choose not to have teeth. But if I really want it to look realistic, then we have to add this. So go up to the top toolbar and click on Eye Settings. As soon as we click that, CrazyTalk will prompt us that we need to go into the Content Manager to choose one of the eye templates that we have. So I'm going to click on OK, and the Content Manager has been expanded for us already. So I can go into the Animal folder, and I can choose Animal Eyes. Let me zoom in a bit. I think we can zoom in. Oh, that's full screen. Give me a second. There we go. So we can see this better. So I can choose Animal Eyes. I can go to Anime Eyes. Let me go out. I can choose Human Eyes, Real Human Eyes. I don't think that looks okay. Or I can choose the ones that I want, which is our cartoon eyes. So I'm going to choose Cartoon 01. Okay, and I think I like that. So now what I want to do is that I want to adjust my character's eyes to make him look better. So once I chose my template, I go back again to the same eye settings in the upper toolbar, click on that. And this will expand the eye settings panel. Now, first thing off the bat, I want to get rid of those eyelashes. So we have eyelashes enabled. Let me turn this off. Okay, and we also have makeup enabled, so I'm going to turn that off. So you'll see the difference if I have them on or off. So let's just have this off here. And then you can start playing around with different settings. For example, the eyeball iris, the eyeball white, the eye light, the eyeshadow, and everything else. I don't usually play with a lot of these features. I will, however, use the eyeshadow. Okay, I think this one is pretty important. The eyeshadow will govern any little area around the eye, between the eye and the eye socket. So if I drop down the brightness for the eyeshadow, and you look at my character, let me increase that eyeshadow and drop it. You see it makes a big difference. Okay, if it's too high, it looks a bit cartoonish. I know this is a cartoon character, but I kind of like to drop this better and have a little shadow between the eyes and the eye sockets. And then you can play around with a bunch of other stuff. If you want to change the iris color, you can always do that. Give him green eyes or blue eyes or what have you. But I just want to keep him as he is. Okay, and I think that looks pretty good. Now, if I would like to test this, I can go down here and click on Close Eyes, and I can see what it looks like. Okay, and I can also click on Preview and move my mouse around, and you can see my eye following. Now that is really cool. Great. So let me close this part here, and we have our eyes. Now let's start working with the mouth. So we're going to do the same thing. Upper toolbar, go to Teeth Settings, and we have to choose some of the teeth that come, some of the teeth templates that come in the Content Manager. So I'm going to go down. You can choose anything from monster teeth, vampire. I can choose braces. Okay. Don't worry if the teeth have a weird rotation, because we're going to fix that later on. So I wish to use this comic 29 underscore comic. I think this will look good on my character. Yes, that one right there. But we need to make sure that the rotation is properly set. So I'm going to go back into the teeth settings, and we're going to start adjusting these. So let me rotate first of all, and I'm going to drop them a bit. Okay, and I think that looks okay. Maybe I can move them to the side a little if I need to. And I can obviously enlarge them and shrink them and do anything I'd like. I can choose the color, the brightness of my teeth. But I think these teeth actually look very nice. So besides playing around with the teeth, I can also play around with the throat. So I'll click on throat. And what CrazyTalk does is that it already has a library of color tones for the back of the throat. And depending on your image, depending on the color tones that your image already has, CrazyTalk will try to apply the appropriate throat color for your character. Obviously, you can always play around with this. You can drop the brightness or increase it, or you can just adjust it to whatever you'd like. But I like to leave it the way it is. Okay, great. So let me click on teeth here. And I think we're done. So let me close the teeth settings and go back out, and I think we are ready. I can zoom out a bit. Now we can see our character. Okay, Saul Goodman. Great. So let's go into the next part of our live demo. The next part will be to create lip syncs. Create lip syncs from audio. So we can choose up to 3 different ways to create a lip sync. Now, this is one of the really, really cool things about CrazyTalk, because it'll literally animate the lips of your character automatically just based on the sound that you put in. It can be you can use a microphone to record your own voice, or you can import, a pre-recorded audio file. Okay, so let's do the first one. We're going to use a microphone to record our voice for lip syncing. So back in CrazyTalk, what we need to do is we go up to the top toolbar, and there's one that says Import Audio. So we click on that, and you'll see that we have up to 4 different options. So I'm going to choose the first one, Record Audio here. And I can choose my device. If I have an aggregate device or if I want to use the built-in microphone, and just record your voice. So let me try something out here. Here we go. Hello everyone, and welcome to CrazyTalk 7. Okay, and I can play this back if I'd like to. Hello everyone, and welcome to CrazyTalk 7. Okay, and if I'm satisfied, I can click on OK. So as soon as I click on OK, CrazyTalk will ask me, okay, well great, we have this audio that you just provided us. What would you like to do? Would you like to create a lip sync only, which means that CrazyTalk will only animate the lips? Or would you like to create a listen mode? This means that there will be no lip animation, but your character's head and eyes and facial parts will move and react to the audio as if somebody is talking to him. Or we can generate a talk mode, which will generate both a lip syncing and also a facial animation. So let me do the talk mode here. Processing. And CrazyTalk will animate it automatically right now. 1, 2, 3. Hello everyone, and welcome to CrazyTalk 7. Okay, not bad, not bad. I can play that again so you could see it. Hello everyone, and welcome to CrazyTalk 7. Okay, very nice. Now, obviously, you can get better results if you record your voice in a nice, clean environment with a good microphone and obviously good software. So, the better the quality of your audio, the better the result of your lip syncing. Remember, because CrazyTalk, what it does is that it distinguishes sounds, and it has a phoneme library inside that distinguishes these sounds and determines this sounds like an A, this sounds like an O or an E. So it'll try its best to animate the lips based on this sound. But if you have a lot of background noise or ambient noise or echo, or your voice is not clear, then obviously CrazyTalk is going to have a difficult time distinguishing those vowels and those phonemes for you. So try to have a good recording prior to doing this. So let me try to undo this. We go over here, undo, or I can just quickly go to edit or Control Z or Command Z if you're on a Mac. Now we're going to undo that animation. Okay, and I'm going to do this again. I'm going to go into import audio, but this time around we're going to do something different. I will actually show you that we also have a text-to-speech application. This is actually a service the Reallusion offers. It's called Avatar TTS On Demand. So what we do here basically is that we allow you the opportunity to use a professional text-to-speech audio creation platform. This is an online service that we have. And what you can do is that you can create your audio with this. If you don't want to use your own voice, you can use this system here, this service, to generate an audio based on your text. Okay, so there's two ways to do this. I can use the Reallusion text-to-speech on demand, or obviously I can use the Mac text-to-speech system that we have built in here. Okay, so let me click on text-to-speech, and this I'll just use the onboard system that the Mac has. Hello, and oh no, not there. Excuse me. Hello and good morning. And I will use the voice mode Alex. And let's hear it.
Hello and good morning.
Okay, not bad.
Hello and good morning.
It's not bad, but it's not great. I'm not even going to generate a lip sync from this. You get the idea. Certain operating systems come with a text-to-speech application already. I believe that Windows has one. But the quality sometimes isn't that good. Now, if you use a text-to-speech on-demand service, you can see a better difference in quality. So I can say something like, hello, good morning. Okay, and I'm going to choose US English. Then I'm going to choose male 1. And I'm just going to leave the settings as they are for the pitch and the speed. So let's preview this.
Hello, good morning.
Okay, not bad. So this was basically sent to the Reallusion server. They processed that text and then they generated an audio for you. So I can also go to UK English and I can preview.
Hello, good morning.
Okay, so you get the idea. Obviously, this is a paid service as we use a third-party text-to-speech application, and they have some pretty good deals on this. So you might want to check it out if you're interested in having professional text-to-speech audio generated for you. So one last one. Let's try Hola, ¿qué pasa, amigos? So I'm going to use this in Spanish. And I'm going to choose US Spanish instead of European Spanish. And I'm going to preview.
Hola, ¿qué pasa, amigos?
Okay, not bad. So this works with a bunch of other languages. I can use this with Chinese, Cantonese, Taiwan Chinese. I can use it with Japanese, Korean, Brazilian, Portuguese, both Brazilian and European French, Canadian French, Italian, and a lot of other options in there. So this is actually very, very useful. And as you can hear already, the quality is actually pretty good. So that's one thing that you could do. Or the other one is that basically you can import a pre-recorded audio file, which I have one already. I have a file here, an MP3 file I made for Saul Goodman. So let's hear that right now. Hi, I'm Saul Goodman, and in times of need, you need a lawyer you can trust. Okay, I like that. So let's use this MP3 file. Now you might ask, okay, does it only work with an MP3 file? No, it'll actually work with a WAV file too. So it can be WAV or MP3. Now again, as I mentioned, you need to ensure that your recording is done in good quality. You want to have good quality go in so that CrazyTalk can do its job properly and detecting those sounds and animating it. Now, people at this point might ask, okay, but does this only work with English? Does it work with Spanish? What languages does it work with? And the answer is CrazyTalk will work with any language. This is because it detects sounds, not words. So in any language that you have, CrazyTalk will try its best to detect that sound and then try to find the appropriate phoneme, visme, for your character's animation. So let's import this MP3 file. I'll open File, and CrazyTalk will ask me, do you want to generate a talk mode, a listen mode, or what have you? So I'm going to choose a lip sync only. So depending on the length of your file, this may take from 5 to 10 to 20 seconds. Obviously, the longer it is. Hi, I'm Saul Goodman, and in times of need, you need a lawyer you can trust. Okay, so our audio stopped right there. You saw that the time scrub moved and it stopped there. So what I want to do is I'm going to grab this little red triangle at the end. This is one of the end markers, and I'm going to drag it right after the end of that segment. Okay, so basically I'm telling the software I only want to use this range in animation. So every time this time scrub reaches this part, it'll finish. It'll stop. Hi, I'm Saul Goodman, and in times of need, you need a lawyer you can trust. Okay, so once you've done that part, you might want to go in and select, you might want to review and adjust the lip syncs, okay, if this is needed. So how do we do this in CrazyTalk? We know that we generated lip syncs, but we want to see them. So what we do is that we go into the timeline. You can click down here, or you can press the F3 button, and this will open the timeline for our project. I can later undock that if I'd like. Okay, so in the timeline, let me expand this a bit so we can see our file. There we go. This is the audio file, and we notice that there's a track called voice. So click on this little arrow here to expand the voice track. Excuse me. And I'm going to zoom in a bit, and we can see now, we can see all the lip syncs that were generated by CrazyTalk. So let's start from the beginning here. We need to see his mouth. So let me move this to the side a bit. So this is a time scrub, and it's scrubbing over. It's hovering over our time, right? So right here, right before it starts, CrazyTalk already dropped in some lip syncs based on what it detected. So I can obviously adjust these if I'd like. So let's hear the first one. What does it sound like?
Hi.
It says hi. So these are the lip syncs that CrazyTalk generated, but I can adjust these if I'd like. So how do I do this? I'm going to basically do it manually just to show you. I'm going to select all of these lip syncs and I'm going to delete them. So the first thing, the most important thing you need to always remember is that at the very beginning, make sure that you have a none lip sync. How do we add this none? There's two ways to do it. One, I can double click on this empty space and CrazyTalk will immediately open the lip sync phoneme panel. Or two, I can activate it by clicking on the lips plus sign here. Okay, and then I can choose a none and it'll drop another one. So what I like to do is that at the very beginning, when I have a silence, I want to have a none lip sync, and then I want to have another none just before that first audio segment kicks in. So if we remember correctly, he said hi, right? That's the first part. Let's see.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. So I want to drop in either an H, ha, or an A. So look in front of a mirror and try to imagine yourself saying the word hi. So look at the shape of your lips, and that's what we want to use. So I'm going to double click inside, and I'm going to choose that A. So hi, we can use that, and I can drop the expressiveness a bit. Okay, I think that should be okay. Or if you want to start, you can actually drop in an H. So where is our H here? Huh, maybe that'll work. Okay. Then we move the time scrub to its highest peak here, and we know he says hi. Hi. Ha, and I'm going to drop the expressiveness a bit. And then I'm going to move the time scrub to the end of that segment where it says hi. Hi. So he would probably end with this E shape here. Hi. And then at the very end, we want to drop in another none phoneme. Okay, so let's review what we did. We dropped a none at the very beginning because we have a long silence. Then right before we start with our audio, we're going to drop another none just to ensure that the mouth is closed during all this time. And then we're going to start with an H, with an A, with an E. So he says, hi. And then we have a none at the very end. Okay? Let me move these other lip syncs here. So let's see what it looks like.
Hi.
That's pretty good, actually. Look at that.
Hi.
Okay? And that was pretty simple.
Hi.
So you can go in and you can start playing around with the rest of your lip syncs. I personally believe when I look at my animations, the first ones that CrazyTalk does, CrazyTalk actually does a pretty good job at detecting the first round of lip syncs, and it starts animating for me. So if I want to do a quick job, I'll just let CrazyTalk do it for me. If I want to do it very detailed and I want to take my time, I just delete all the lip syncs and I go one by one. I do each word at a time. So that ensures that I have a very, very professional looking lip sync every time. So let's continue here. Once we adjusted the lip syncs, what do we do next? What we can do now is that we can start generating our own animations. So remember that when we use the talk mode, let me go back up a bit. Remember that when we dropped in an audio, we could generate a talk mode. So this talk mode generated both the lip syncing and the facial animation for me. I don't like to use the automatic stuff. Why? Because I like to do things the long way. So I like to generate my own lip syncs. I do these one by one. And then later on, I like to create my own animations. I don't know, call me meticulous on this, but I like to have full control over my animations. So what we can do is that I can choose to use the face puppet in order to puppeteer my facial animation. So once we have both once we have the lip syncs done, once we have both the character fitted and everything, and we have the lip syncs done, then we can start creating our animation. Okay.
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman.
So for the animation, I can go up here to the top toolbar and click on Face Puppet. And this will open the Face Puppet panel. And inside we have different profiles. We have male 1, we have female 2, we have youthful, we have attractive, and some other ones in there. So depending on the type of character, you might want to use a specific profile. Notice also that each profile has an additional set of face controls. So for example, for Wicked here, I have a face control for general, I have one for smiley, I have one called angry, sad, happy, and scared, I believe, yes. And notice that each face control is controlling different facial muscles on this side. So we can test this out. Let's continue with Wicked, and I'll choose general, and I can just preview, okay? Click on preview, and then when you're ready, you tap on your space bar and move your mouse. Okay. So because this on the right side here, I see that we have the eyelid selected. So if I click on my mouse, he will blink. Okay. And I can choose to use another one. Let's see, angry. Let's test angry here. Yeah, that looks pretty angry, huh? And I can do the same with happy and the rest. Okay, so if I, for example, if I like the general one, then I can use this one. So once again, I can use that. Okay, so let's record. So make sure your time scrub is at the beginning. So when we start recording, the time scrub will start moving forward and playing those lip syncs and playing that audio. And at the same time, as I'm moving my mouse, the software will be recording the tempo of my movement. That'll be translated as an animation to my character's face and facial parts that we have highlighted here. Now I can choose if I want to highlight more facial parts or if I wish to give them head movements or head rotation. But I'm going to keep it simple this time, just for demonstration purposes. So let's record then.
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman, and in times of need, you need a lawyer you can trust.
Okay, and that was it. So if I stop and I play back, you can see that animation that we just recorded.
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman, and in times of need, you need a lawyer you can trust.
So obviously you can use the face profiles here, or you can choose to clear all these facial muscles and then just do one by one. I can do just one by one and record one on top of the other. I need to make sure that the blend data on next recording option is turned on. So I record something, let's say only the cheeks, time scrub will move forward, and once I'm done recording, I can stop, play this back, I'll clear puppet, and then I'll choose different facial muscles, make sure the blend data is on, and I'll record again, and basically I will be layering animations one on top of the other until I have a final product like the one that I showed you here at the end.
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman, and in times of need, you need a lawyer you can trust.
So you can create very, very nice animations with real life photographs. So just like this one, this Heisenberg one.
Now you listen to me. I'm the cook. Who the hell are you? You know. You all know exactly who I am. Now, say my name. Heisenberg. That's right.
Okay, or I can use one like Samuel L. Jackson here. I use this photograph for this one.
Hey, kids. You know who we are? We're associates, right? That's right. Now, here's the situation. You're the righteous man, and I'm the righteous man. Not like that.
See? Beautiful. So it doesn't take a long time to create these really nice animations with CrazyTalk. You just have to have good audio, a little patience with the lip syncs, and then creativity once you're using the puppeteering tools to generate your own animations. Great. So that's the end of the live demo. I like to quickly go into the showcases to show you who uses CrazyTalk in our software. So if you've seen the Jimmy Kimmel show, they actually have one of their animators called Jesse Griffith. He uses CrazyTalk and both iClone in their show. So you can go in and you can see some of the featured stories that we have on their work, and you can see some of the work that they've done before. They actually use CrazyTalk Animator in some of their animations here. So give me a second. Let me fast forward this a bit. So the animations they did for Rebecca Black here in the mouth, they use CrazyTalk Animator for all that. Okay, so that's one of the showcases that we have. The next one comes from Zach Shelton, Willow Road Animations. This is a company that does motion comics. So they actually use CrazyTalk to generate a lot of their lip syncing due to time constraints. Let me show you here.
Working on this motion comic called GFH, Justice for Hire. It's a mixed martial arts motion comic. We premiered it this year at the Martial Arts Film Festival. We had like 2 weeks left to try to finish all the lip sync. We were really freaking out.
Who's paying you? I'll triple it.
We're really pressed for time, and we were thinking about, maybe we should just like hand draw this lip sync. But CrazyTalk really came in and saved our butts. We wouldn't have been able to premiere it without it. It was absolutely fantastic, really easy to learn. Absolutely, it was amazing.
Whoa, it's getting hot, Louisa.
Okay, so that's another showcase that we have. And of course, we have other ones from Her Bunk. This is the last one I want to show you because I want to keep enough time for the answers and questions. This is a very interesting animation that was done by Her Bunk, where he animated up to 1 to 8 characters with CrazyTalk. Now at this point you might ask, well, how did he animate all these 8 characters? Well, in CrazyTalk you can only animate 1 character at a time. So what he did was that he animated 1 character and then he exported that as a video. Then he animated a second character and exported it as a video also. And at the end he used a third-party video editing software to put all these videos together and compile them in one video just like this. Okay, great. So let's move along and let's jump into the questions and answers section. So if you have any questions, please type them in down at the questions box, and that way I can start answering your questions in the next 10 minutes. Okay, first question comes from Safia. She says, is it possible to use my own picture file? So yes, the answer is definitely yes. Just like I used the Samuel L. Jackson one there, and also the image from Saul Goodman, you can import your own photograph and it'll work perfectly. A couple of things that I need to remind you is that when you take your photo, there are certain things you need to make sure. Number 1, make sure that you're looking straight at the camera, okay? Try not to have an angle where your face is tilted or anything. Make sure you have a straight forward looking photograph. Number 2, no smiling, no expressions. This will affect your animation. So make sure you have a neutral expression on your face. And number 3, try not to have accessories on like eyeglasses, like big earrings, or even hats. Okay, try to have none of these, and that way you can ensure that you'll have a better face fitting with your photo. Another question comes from Jason. Jason says, "Hi, how do I add multiple actors to a scene? Or if I have a scene with two or more characters, how do I animate them both?" Well, Jason, as I just mentioned, CrazyTalk 7 does not allow you to animate more than one actor. The reason is because when we designed CrazyTalk 7, we also designed it to be compatible with mobile devices, with iPads and iPhones. So on iPads and iPhones, you have small touchscreen panels, right? The screen is really small. So we figured after a lot of testing that if you were animating more than one character, it was extremely cumbersome when you were using a small touchscreen panel for this. So that's the reason we took it out. Now, as I mentioned, you can obviously do some little tricks. You can export one video, then export the other character in another video, and just use another video editing software to put these together in one video at the end. Okay. Another question comes from Ivis. Ivis says, "Can I record my voice over through my audio interface? Because I have Animator 2, and in preferences, there is no audio choice." That's strange. You should, from the moment you plug in a microphone, CrazyTalk should detect that you have another interface in. So yeah, you need to have that checked. I suggest to try to update your sound card drivers. Maybe that will ensure. And obviously, every time you have a problem with CrazyTalk, please try to go into the update area and make sure that you have an updated CrazyTalk. So how do we do this? When you have your CrazyTalk, just simply go up to Help and click on Check for Update. And this will check with the Reallusion server, and it'll tell you the version that you have installed, and it'll tell you what's the latest release version. And you can simply choose to update that free, obviously, and that way you'll make sure that you have the latest version of CrazyTalk. And obviously, if there's any bugs that we fixed, that'll hammer them out. Okay. Another question says, "No lips moved." Let's see. Gary Kreisman says, "I tried the free demo, but I was unable to see anything after I completed. And they said I didn't have the right drivers. I installed the drivers and it still didn't work. I have Windows 7. Is there a fix for it?" Well, like I said, Gary, there's two things you always have to make sure when you have issues. First one is update your Windows or operating system and operate your video card drivers and also your sound card drivers, okay? Number two, always try to make sure that you have the latest version of CrazyTalk. That will ensure that we have already provided you the best version with all the fixes, the bug fixes. If you still have issues, then you need to contact Reallusion support and they can guide you through on how to fix things. Okay. Another question from Zola. Zola says, "Sometimes when moving my character's head, the immediate background around his head will bow and kind of warp, no matter how precisely I contour head and face. Any helpful tips any helpful tips on that background?" Yes, Zola, there is actually we have a way to do this. Let me close this panel and go back. I didn't cover this for some reason. I was going quick, but in CrazyTalk, we have an option that says mask editing. So if you have a character with a background, you can always go into mask editing. And this is basically an area that will allow you to remove the background. Okay, and we have an automatic detection system too. It'll try to remove a background simply by stroking over those segments. Okay, so I can do something like that and I can color over the parts that I want to remove, and CrazyTalk will try to remove that background for me. Okay, so if you take your time in removing that background, then you will ensure that if you start animating, CrazyTalk will not warp or try to animate those segments that are around your head and your character's face and everything else. So you need to use the mask editor to remove that background. Another trick that you could use, and I love to use this trick, is basically before you import your face photo, if you have Photoshop and you know how to use Photoshop, then use Photoshop to remove that background first. Save it as a PNG, and then import that new PNG image into CrazyTalk with a removed background already. So that can guarantee you better results. If not, you can always use the mask editing application that I just showed you in here to remove the background, quickly inside CrazyTalk. Let's go to the next question. Jim L says, can you do the same with CrazyTalk Animator? That's a very popular question. CrazyTalk 7 is specifically designed for facial animation. Okay, it also does a bit of head animation and shoulder animation, but that's about it. CrazyTalk Animator is designed for both face and body animation. So people might ask, well, that means that CrazyTalk Animator has everything I need. Well, yes, it would have everything you need if you want to create both face and body animation. But I will have to remind you, I will have to mention that CrazyTalk 7 is specifically designed for facial animation. So we actually have some tools inside that CrazyTalk Animator does not have. For example, the auto motion panel. If you are using CrazyTalk Animator Pro, you will notice that you have this panel with a lot of options. So what does this panel do? This panel basically gives you very detailed control over every specific facial part and every specific eye and cheek and everything, and it basically animates these facial parts based on your audio. So just like the talk mode that I was showing you, remember the talk mode will create a lip sync and facial animation for you. So this one here, the auto motion settings panel, this will help you govern and control every specific movement that the talk mode will generate. If I want my character to be bouncing up and down, in relation to the audio, or left and right, or if I want my eyeballs to be moving to the left and then jumping to the right after a certain number of beats, I can use this panel to control that. Okay, and I can increase the strength and the threshold and the spring effect, the bounciness of that movement. CrazyTalk Animator does not have this auto motion settings panel. Okay, so this is one of the main differences with CrazyTalk 7. If you want to create just quick facial animation that is a lip sync and then the puppeteering, you can do that with CrazyTalk Animator. But if you want to go into the nitty-gritty of making sure that that audio is controlling the eyeballs and controlling the cheeks and everything, then you will need CrazyTalk 7 for this. Okay? See, another question from Liz. Liz says, can I create multiple puppet clips and store them in a library so I can use them whenever I want? Yes, Liz, absolutely. So as I showed you with the the facial puppeteering tools, let me go back to this one. Remember this one, right? So with the facial puppeteering tools, you're gonna record, and as soon as you stop, this is gonna create a motion clip down in the timeline. So you can save that motion clip in your library, and you can use this anytime you want. This is actually one of the big advantages with CrazyTalk, because you can generate all these motion clips and save them. And then in the future, if you have a different character or a new character, or you modified your character, you can reuse these motion clips over and over again without having to spend time to remake them. Okay? Terry Larkin says, could you auto-generate and then just edit one section versus deleting it? Yes, we can do that. Inside inside CrazyTalk, we actually have, let's see, the auto. We have a part where you can actually cut your generated clip. Not here, I'm sorry. You can go into the timeline and you can cut a generated clip in two. You can break them. Give me a second here. I can choose if I want to break a clip, and I can move it to the side. Okay. For the motion clip that you ask, no, I cannot break that for some reason. Let me try to remember, how did I do this before? I know that for the motion clips, yes, for the motion clips you can break them. For the audio you can break them. But for the auto motion, you need to stick to one auto motion. So I'm sorry if I didn't mention this before. I was trying to do this webinar very, basic. The auto motions are animations that are generated from audio. Just like the talk mode, remember when we imported the audio? There was a talk mode option. So if I would have chosen talk mode, down here in Automotion, it would say talk mode. But besides having the talk mode only, we also have a library here that says Automotions. And these are predetermined animation profiles that will follow your voice or your audio. So if I choose something that says actor down, this spring effect with actor down, so what it means is that the actor will follow that audio file, and this profile here for the auto motion will make my actor bounce up and down based on that audio, on the peaks of my audio. Okay, so that's what it does there. Great, so let me move along. We're running out of time here. We got a bunch of questions. Let me try to answer as much as I can. Tam says, is there any feature in CrazyTalk 7 that doesn't exist in CrazyTalk Animator 2? Yes, the auto motions, as I just talked about it right now. These are profiles that will react to your audio in a specific way. So this does not exist in CrazyTalk Animator 2. Ahmed asks, how do I export and upload to YouTube? Also, can I add the CrazyTalk character to a looping background? Oh, okay. First thing is first, how do I export my character? What you would do is just simply go to export, and you can export this as a video. And then you have settings inside for HD and everything else, and just export it as a video and manually upload it into YouTube. If you want to have your character loop over and over again, then what you would do is just export this one video, okay, and then open another video editing software like Adobe Premiere or something as simple as iMovie or Windows Movie Maker. Import that video one after another, and you have a looping character in the background over and over again. You just have to make sure that the end of your animation matches the beginning of your animation when you're doing a loop. That way you don't have a little jerk at the end and at the beginning of that animation. Okay. Another question from Chacho Hollywood. He says, will you be doing a webinar on how to animate pets, dogs with CrazyTalk? If so, when? Well, we have a big schedule for a lot of webinars. For a pet or a dog, yes, we can do this webinar. The only thing is that you won't be learning anything different than what I just showed you today. The only thing I would be doing different is probably selecting a different facial profile for the 3D effect, and probably selecting different types of eye templates or teeth templates for that particular animal. Everything else might be just the same. Okay? Let's see. Terry Larkin asked, are there any instructional videos we can access? Yes, absolutely. Let me go into Facebook. I'm going to go into the Reallusion webpage, and I'm going to guide you on how to search for these tutorials. So just go into the Reallusion webpage, reallusion.com, and find your product. Okay, go up here to product. Then we go into 2D animation, and we want to go into CrazyTalk. Okay, so click on CrazyTalk, and this will bring us into the CrazyTalk 7 landing page. Now, if I scroll down, I'm going to go to the left side column here. And we have a section inside called Training Resources. So you want to expand that and go to Training Resources Home. This will bring you to the landing page where we have all the video tutorials for CrazyTalk. This will explain everything you need on character creation. We have a lot of tutorials covering the auto motions. And then we have custom motions, how to use the puppeteering panel properly. And then outputting and using in other applications, exporting image sequences, using plugins, additional plugins that we have for CrazyTalk, and everything else. So you might want to check out this area here, the training resources in CrazyTalk 7. Okay, Let's see, we're right over the time limit. Let me answer 2 more here. Let's see. Let's see. Terry Wayne says, copyright issues using Samuel L. Jackson and other famous paintings or actors. Yes, Terry, actually, this is a very important point, and I'm glad you brought it up. When we use images, when we use pictures, we need to make sure that we use materials that are not copyrighted or that are owned by other people. It's tempting many times to just go on Google and finding an image of a celebrity or an actor or someone and animating that. Now there is a law called fair use, I believe. I forgot the name of this act. Basically, that if you use an image like this, you don't profit from it. You're using it for educational purposes. Then the Fair Use Act or something, I forgot the name, allows you to use this image without being sued. Okay, but obviously, if you're using this for private use, if you're using it for a company, if you're using it to generate revenue, then you will run into legal trouble. That's why it is always best to contact the owner of that image, the photographer, the agency who took that picture, and purchase the rights to use that image. Okay, so that is a very important point that you mentioned. Let's see. Ken Ruffin says, how can you output CrazyTalk file and import and use it in CrazyTalk Animator? That's a good question, and at the moment, Kenny, we cannot do that. This was, when we designed the software, this was a slight oversight from our team. But I'll give you some very good news. Right now, we are already working on the next iteration for CrazyTalk, which will be CrazyTalk 8. Hopefully will be out next year. Okay, so in that new application, we will be focusing on making it compatible with CrazyTalk Animator and even making it compatible with iClone. We're even thinking about being able to export that animation and that animated head as an FBX to be used in other applications. So that's going to be a very, very cool application once it comes out. Now, obviously, this is going to be until next year. So I always recommend, get your CrazyTalk. Start working with your CrazyTalk. Get used to it. So if you have CrazyTalk 7 right now, or if you're thinking about purchasing, great. Go ahead and get your application. Get used to it. Later on, when CrazyTalk 8 comes out, we always have special upgrade prices for you to upgrade to that other application without having to pay full price. The advantage being that you will already carry all that knowledge onto that second iteration that comes out. Okay, so great. I think that's all the time that we have for now. Maybe one more from Kenny also. He asks, how about mocap in CrazyTalk Animator? You're going into deep questions there, Kenny. Yes, we actually have plans for facial mocap for all our tools, but obviously that will come in the future. When, I'm not sure, but we will be informing the public once we have more information coming out of the woodworks here in Reallusion. Okay, great. So we hope you enjoyed this webinar. We went a bit over the time, but obviously it's a pleasure to answer all your questions. Thank you again for joining. We really appreciate this. I'd like to remind you that as a thank you for joining our webinar, we will be giving out a free training DVD, the download version, not the physical one, the download version. So what we're going to do is that right after the webinar, we're going to send you an email. This will take about a day or two. So please check your spam folder to make sure the email didn't go into your spam folder. And we will provide you with a little survey. The survey takes about 2 or 3 minutes to answer. We kindly ask you to take the time to do this because the feedback you give us helps us a lot on how to improve these webinars. And obviously, as a thank you, we want to give you a download link for the training DVD for CrazyTalk 7. This training DVD obviously contains all the video tutorials, but also some of the project files that I use inside those training videos. so that way you can follow my instructions with those project files inside your PC or your Mac. Great. So that's all the time we have. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time. Okay? Have a great day, people. Thank you. Bye-bye.